May I straightaway invite Professor S.C. Manchanda to speak on psychosocial factors and cardiovascular disease. Professor Manchanda is currently a senior consultant cardiologist at Gangaram City Hospital in New Delhi.
Thank you, Dr. Chopra. Well, I'm going to talk about a subject which has been discussed in this conference for a long period of time, that is the stress. Unfortunately, I think very few people are here, so I'll be very brief. This, I believe, is one of the most important factors for causation of heart disease, a neglected field so far, but there's a lot of evidence which is coming up, and I will try to share with you what is the evidence available. There are a large number of psychosocial risk factors which cause coronary heart disease. They can be divided into three heads mostly. One is psychosocial stress, which can be acute or chronic. There can be emotional factors which are very, very important, like depression, anxiety, anger, hostility. And there are social factors like socio-economic status, social support, isolation. Socio-economic status includes education also. We will discuss each one of them briefly because I have been given only 13 minutes. Now, how do we know stress is important? You see, human mind is very complicated. To assess the effect of stress is not that easy. Therefore, animal models were initially formed, and they showed very conclusively that it is possible to create heart disease by stress. And these are animal studies. Some epidemiological studies also came in. Cyanocobalt monkeys were the experimental models chosen because they are very similar to human beings. They stay in groups, they have dominance, and so on and so forth. And this is a study done long back in which it was shown that if you have these monkeys which are unstable means they have a leader who has to fight it out, and they were changed very frequently. They were given stress also, and it was found that these unstable cyanocobalt monkeys, in spite of the normal diet, develop atherosclerosis. The lesion was seen in the coronary arteries. A similar experiment was done several years back that a low-fat diet normally reverses heart disease, but a low-fat diet in monkeys, when they were given a lot of stress by several conditions, developed atherosclerosis. Similarly, the contrary, love can decrease coronary artery disease. This is a very small experiment done several years back. You know, these rabbits develop atherosclerosis. A group of rabbits did not develop atherosclerosis. They were not able to find out why. Then they found out that the technician used to take out the rabbits from the cages, just fondle them. They were in the lower cages, and these rabbits did not develop. So stress can cause atherosclerosis, and love can regress atherosclerosis. The data was available. Similarly, data was available in patients with heart disease. These are patients with heart disease, and you can see that when they have mental stress, the angina, myocardial ischemia markedly increases, and depending upon the sadness rating, the ischemia increases. So something is happening due to stress which is causing ischemia. Interheart study was one of the best studies which showed that psychosocial factors are important for causation of heart disease. You know, this was the study done in 52 countries with 15,000 patients. And this showed that in all countries, psychosocial factor is very important. And if you take the odds ratio, they were next only to current smoking. If you take population at risk, and this is Salim Yusuf thought that it's 30% psychosocial factors present. This morning we heard in Indians it's 90%. So if we take the population at risk, psychosocial factors, according to this study, will be number one. They are much more important than even the lipids, which are supposed to be number one, and current smoking. And this is true in both males and females. As you can see, psychosocial factors are important in both males and females in all the countries, including India. Now, there are physical stressors. Acute stress, for example, if there's an earthquake or a terrorist attack, there are studies available that in Northridge earthquake in the United States, in Los Angeles in 1994, increased cardiac deaths at least 2 to 5 times, and I will show you data. Similarly, after 9/11, The rates of defibrillation in these people who had ICDs also increased markedly, and the deaths also increased in earthquakes in Japan. So several studies are there that you hear about a terrorist activity or earthquake, and you are not even there, and this can increase it. Mortality also increases within 1 month of death of spouse. There are several studies on this. Work-related stress. This is a very classical Whitehall study. This was done in United Kingdom civil servants. Work-related stress, when they did overtime, they get more heart disease. Upcoming deadlines increase myocardial infarction 6 times. Marital stress, caregiver stress also increases. All published reports are there. And this is what I was trying to tell you. In Los Angeles, if you... Sorry, how do you put it on? Something wrong with this. Okay. Here, if you see on the top, you can see that these are the daily deaths in Los Angeles due to cardiovascular disease in 92 and 94. When the earthquake occurred, it increased 5 times, and this is true in many other places. Now, coming to emotional factors, depression is possibly the most important risk factor. It is a strong independent risk factor for coronary heart disease. It is associated with poor prognosis in patients with cardiovascular disease. The recent American Heart Association scientific statement recommends that depression should be added to the list of major risk factors like obesity, hypertension, smoking, and this has just been published in 2014. They reviewed 52 articles on depression and came to this conclusion that this is one of the most important risk factors that should be treated like a major risk factor. So depression, there's no question about it, is very, very important. And this is one of the studies you can see that after myocardial infarction, if there is a severe depression, the mortality is increased as 7 or 8 folds. The survival is only 70%, as against if you have no depression, it's 90%. So a depression after myocardial infarction, after bypass surgery. Similarly, if you see all the risk factors and see severe depression, which is on the lowermost panel, you will find that depression is possibly as important as other risk factors. This is comparing with the Framingham trials. So depression is very important. There are several studies on anxiety also, a meta-analysis of 20 studies done in 2010 in 250,000 patients suggests that anxiety is an independent risk factor. I do not have the details to go into details. Anxiety is also associated with poor prognosis and greater recurrence of myocardial infarction, cardiac death. We used to say about type A behavior is important for risk factor. That has now not been considered as significant because lots of people did not have that. Now a new behavior pattern is coming called type D personality. It's a distress personality. It is a personality characterized by tendency to experience increased negative effectivity paired with tendency not to express these emotions. So these people do not even express their emotions. And recently, type D personality has been shown to be an independent risk factor for coronary artery disease and has adverse outcomes after coronary disease, myocardial infarction, heart failure, and even after PCI, after angioplasty. And this is a study reported in JACC in 2004. You can see 9 months after stents, whether they are drug-eluting or not, the risk or the MACE adverse events are increased 4 times more as compared to non-type D. So if you have a personality, distressed personality, your results of angioplasty and bypass are not going to be good. Similarly, this is true in heart failure and so on. Anger is associated with the increased coronary heart disease events like acute myocardial infarction, cardiac mortality, and revascularization. This is a very large study, ERIC study, which showed that very clearly. Episodes of anger can also precipitate acute MI. Anger within 1 hour or 2 hours of the symptoms of myocardial infarction has been shown to increase the risk of acute MI by 2 to 9 times. So if you are angry, the chances of getting heart attack increase markedly. And suppressed anger also may increase the subclinical atherosclerosis. And this is that ERIC study. You can see that these are normotensive individuals. Those who have severe anxiety, the event-free survival is markedly reduced. So anger is equally responsible, but I said the strongest data is on depression. Social factors are very important. This includes socioeconomic status, education status, and so on. Low socioeconomic status is associated with poorer health habits and high coronary heart disease. Several studies available in the Western countries. Now in India also, there are at least 2 studies that show that risk of myocardial infarction is increased in low socioeconomic groups. This was a study done by Pius, and then another one by Dr. Rastogi in Bangalore, which showed that the heart disease is increasing in the poor people and poor socioeconomic. Maybe they are ill-informed. There could be so many reasons. I'm not going to details. Social isolation and lack of social support are independent risk factors. And recently, only last month, an article has appeared that a bad neighborhood, if you have a neighborhood which is violent, can increase heart disease at least 3 times. Now, we know all these factors cause it, but what is the pathophysiology? Well, it's rather complicated. We don't understand quite a bit, but we know that these stressors like job stress, life events, low socioeconomic status, they all increase psychosocial stress, and this causes stress responses like depression, anger, hostility. All of them lead to several physiological mechanisms. They change the sympathetic, parasympathetic tone, oxidative stress, neuroendocrine coagulation factors. They also affect the hypothalamus, and the whole neuroimmunological system is deranged, and this can worsen the risk factors: hypertension, tobacco, lipids, which can cause endothelial dysfunction, atherosclerosis, ischemia, myocardial infarction, and death. So this is roughly the psychosocial stress mechanism which have been studied in great details. Now, what about intervention? Suppose a person is under stress. The results of, unfortunately, behavior and non-psychopharmacological interventions are showing mixed results. There was a study which showed that the antidepressant sertraline had equivocal results. Only patients who responded had a good recovery. Similarly, ENRICH study was a large study, again did not show significant changes. And meta-analysis shows that if people respond to the psychobehavior, they improve. But yoga appears to be a very promising technique. So I'll talk about a minute I have. Yoga is not a few postures we have been talking, but a complete way of life. It aims at harmonious development of body, mind, leading to physical well-being, mental harmony, and actually should be called yoga lifestyle, which consists of physical, mental, emotional, spiritual well-being. Physical means diet is a part of yoga, exercise. Mental well-being is important. Emotional well-being is important because anger, ego, hostility can be. And it has been shown in several studies to reduce work stress, anxiety, depression, and improve sleep. Sleep is also one of the way. Now, does it yoga improve heart disease? Yes, there are several studies available. Both this is primary prevention studies. This is a study from United States. Kriya Yoga in 3 months reduced blood pressure, LDC, the cholesterol. Similarly, Indian study also showed that all the risk factors for heart disease are significantly reduced apart from decreasing of the stress. And recently, a 10-year Canadian follow-up study has shown that if people are happy, the reduction of coronary artery disease is there. And yoga makes you happy. So what about yoga? Can it regress the disease? Yes, there are 3 studies. One of them is from this hospital Raj Yoga trial. Before that, I had a trial of yoga, and D. Nornish had it. All of them showed the body mass index decreases, lipids decrease as much as 30% without any statins. These studies were done before statins were. Angina is markedly reduced. There is a regression on angiography. Psychosocial status is markedly reduced. And compliance, this is the most important part, because in the Western countries it is said it's difficult to modify the lifestyle. But I always say, if you make the mind strong, the compliance is very high. As you see, 80 to 90% in all the 3 studies that we have reported. And therefore, I think once you make the mind strong, the compliance with exercise and diet is very strong. And this should be considered seriously by the American Heart. And we have also done a study in early atherosclerosis metabolic syndrome. There is a regression of intimal medial thickness by yoga for 1 year, and there is a significant reduction as compared to control in the body mass index, waist circumference, HDL, LDL, and systolic blood pressure. So yoga can help. Now, does it change just half a minute more, this is the last slide. Does it decrease the mortality? This is a study which is reported in Circulation a couple of years back. This is by transcendental meditation. These are blacks who are followed up with coronary artery disease for 9 years, and there is a 48% decrease in mortality by transcendental meditation. So there is evidence that it can save lives, and this is by Dr. Schneider from the United States. To summarize, numerous studies show that there is a strong and consistent association of several psychosocial social factors in coronary heart disease. Psychosocial factors also adversely affect the prognosis. After MI, after bypass, PCI, the American Heart Association suggests that depression should be included as a major risk factors like smoking, hypertension. Results of psychopharmacological intervention are not consistent and need further studies. Yoga appears to be a promising technique for control of psychosocial stress and prevention of heart disease. And this is what we have been talking. There is a lot of scientific evidence in what you have heard in the last 2 days. Thank you.